Hallo zusammen. This is the second part of my linguistic analysis of this Django Unchained scene, in which Christoph Waltz's character, Dr. King Schultz, speaks German with Broomhilde, and I had a lot of things to say about this scene, more than I anticipated actually, talking about anticipation in this scene, so I figured I may as well make a 2-ish, 3-ish part series of this. So yeah, this is part 2. Keep enjoying. I certainly did enjoy making this.
Ich bin mir dessen bewusst, dass Sie eine ganze Weile kein Deutsch mehr gesprochen haben.
Ich bin mir dessen bewusst, dass Sie eine ganze Weile kein Deutsch mehr gesprochen haben. Which, towards the end gets very low in terms of volume, it's very quiet.
Ich bin mir dessen bewusst, dass Sie eine ganze Weile kein Deutsch mehr gesprochen haben.
He knows of her situation, once again expressing his empathy, and he wants to make sure that she can follow him. So once again, more ice-breaking in a way. He's an icebreaker, a professional icebreaker.
Also werde ich langsam reden.
Also werde ich langsam reden. Now, there's a few things that are interesting about this phrase in specific. First of all, the first term, also. You may recognize that term because that also exists in English, but be careful here, because the English term also means something different. You could argue that the German also is the same as the English so. Also werde ich langsam reden. So I'm gonna talk slowly. I'm gonna speak slowly.
Also werde ich langsam reden.
What's also interesting and worth noting in this sentence, also werde ich langsam reden, is the werd, the second term, because that is a verb with a dropped ending. And that is typical for spoken German, especially colloquial German. And in that sense, he is also loosening up a little bit in terms of, his distance, and he's becoming a little bit more colloquial, because he is starting to get down to the basic thing that he wants to say to her. Werd is a shortened form of werde. Also werde ich langsam sprechen, with an E at the end. He can't wait.
Ich spreche jetzt nur für den Fall mit Ihnen Deutsch, dass Candys Leute uns zuhören.
Ich spreche jetzt nur für den Fall mit Ihnen Deutsch, dass Candys Leute uns zuhören. He wants to make sure that they can speak freely, and that is why they do it in German, because, everyone around them, they don't speak German. Once again, you may have noticed that the verb is shortened. In this case, it's sprech instead of spreche. Also, once again, colloquial and very typical in that sense.
Ich spreche jetzt nur für den Fall mit Ihnen Deutsch, dass Candys Leute uns zuhören.
What may also stand out to you, because it may look like a mistake, but it isn't, is das with 2 S instead of 1. However, this is the correct form in this context, in this situation. There are 2 das in German, basically, and they sound the same. One with 1 S, which is the article, das, and then there's also das with 2 S. And what is that all about? Well, if you want to find out more about that, I made a dedicated video about this topic quite a few years ago. You can check that out in the end card. It's pretty interesting, and it's arguably one of the biggest mistakes German native speakers make. This is one of the top, most common mistakes you will find. Truly.
Pardon. Wie schön Sie sind.
You know what? I love this delivery of this line. Wie schön Sie sind. He is so warm. I guess you can explain this with many different words. Warm, or maybe heartwarming, may be a fitting term, I feel like. He just wants to be friendly, and he compliments her. He makes her a compliment about her looks, which I guess from today's point of view, some people may say
that is sexist. You can't compliment a woman like that.
He is just trying to make her comfortable.
Wie schön Sie sind.
Then again, though, of course, she doesn't know that yet, because I guess she's still, at this point, she's still on the verge of, can I trust this guy? What is his intention here? What is his plan, He makes das Kompliment, Singular, die Komplimente, Plural, the compliment.
Danke.
Also, little subtlety, she is saying danke because she is also polite, but she is saying that as a question, once again, similar to the ja that she said before. Ja? Like questioning, but still being appreciative in a way, though keeping the distance. Danke? Thanks, I guess. And she doesn't look him in the eye when she says that.
Danke.
The dynamic still needs to get established more. Let's put it this way.
Ein gemeinsamer Freund von uns beiden und ich haben einige Mühen auf uns genommen, sind viele Meilen geritten, um Sie zu finden, mein Fräulein. Um Sie zu retten.
Ein gemeinsamer Freund von uns beiden und ich haben einige Mühen auf uns genommen, sind einige Meilen geritten, um Sie zu finden, mein Fräulein. Um sie zu retten. To you guys, it may be the most common thing, but to us, German speakers, in German-speaking countries, we don't use Meilen as a distance measurement, a distance unit. We use kilometers. Der Kilometer, Singular. Die Kilometer, Plural.
Bitte trinken Sie.
Also, once again, the way he delivers that line. Bitte trinken Sie. Soft spoken in a way. Bitte trinken Sie. Very inviting, allowing her, enabling her, maybe that is the better term, to be herself, to feel safe.
Bitte trinken Sie.
So he definitely knows how to apply die Höflichkeit, the politeness, to a situation like this.
Es ist meine und unseres gemeinsamen Freundes Absicht, Sie für immer von hier wegzuholen.
Ich habe keine Freunde.
His wording, his choice of words and the syntactical structure of that sentence is interesting. Not hers, but his. Es ist meine und unseres gemeinsamen Freundes Absicht, sie immer von hier wegzuholen. The first part is what stands out to me. It's very clumsy, it's very complicated, and maybe that is because he is trying to be very clear with how he wants to say something and explain to her, because as he said before, she probably hasn't spoken German in quite a while. So he wants to make sure that she is following him in a very important thing like this. He's doing that by actively speaking. He is actively thinking about how to express something while he does it. It's a parallel process, you could say. Maybe that is the origin of this strange phrase, because Germans wouldn't express it like this, usually.
Es ist meine und unseres gemeinsamen Freundes Absicht.
One big reason for this is not only the meine and unseres gemeinsamen Freundes, which is a clumsy, mine and our mutual friends' plan, in a way. That is clumsy in itself. But what's also worth noting is that, especially these days though, the genitive case, it's getting used less and less, I feel like, and it's getting substituted with a dative form, a dative object, for instance, here and there. Germans may say something like, das ist die Absicht von unserem gemeinsamen Freund und mir. So it's still a long phrase, but it's in dative. And it's wrong. But it's common. Now, she's replying, ich hab keine Freunde. I don't have any friends. Or I don't have friends. I don't want to overanalyze this, but you could, if you want to, you could see this as another proof for the relationship between them getting closer. She's also using a colloquial form for the first time, I guess you could say, in this conversation. She's also dropping the E at the end of the verb habe. She's not saying ich habe keine Freunde, she's saying ich hab keine Freunde. He's explaining more and more. She's slowly trying to, or getting to realize what he may be talking about, and she's opening up her speech, her language accordingly, you could say.
Doch, die haben sie.
He's so great. Doch, die haben sie. Linguistically speaking, this may be one of the most interesting phrases, expressions, sentences in this conversation for you guys. And also for me, honestly speaking, because when you translate this to English, doch, die haben sie, you may as well translate it to, yes, you have. You do have friends like that, right? But when you just say, yes, you have them, it's a proper reply, but it doesn't really hit the hammer on the nail, if that makes sense. It doesn't really express the contrasting quality of his answer, of his reply. Why is that? That is because doch may be translated to yes, which in turn means ja in German. Yes would be an interjection, and doch is a particle. And as a particle, it expresses a certain quality of, emotion in that sense, in this case right here.
Doch, die haben sie.
So a more fitting translation in my eyes, at least, would be, well, indeed, you have. Or, in fact, you have. I feel like it expresses the contrast in her expectation, I don't have friends. And his reply, which is contrasting that in a positive way, doch, die haben sie. Indeed, you have them, even if you're not aware of that. So he's contrasting her, but in a positive way. And doch is the perfect choice here.